Hello, my name is Liv, and welcome back to Val-YOU, a podcast dedicated to women's advocacy. This is the second episode of the Val-YOU podcast where I will be talking about how the media is influencing young girls. So, young girls seem to be the most influenced by the media because, they're younger and younger people are easier to manipulate, and it's really sad how many girls are just falling for the lies that society and the media are putting out there and how they're devaluing themselves by giving into peer pressure and just getting into things that just chip away at their soul, and things that could end up messing up their lives. But that's what this podcast is about. It's to, help women realize their worth and not give into that kind of stuff, and that the media and society are lying. And I'm also doing this podcast and having this platform to expose those lies that are being disguised as truths, basically. But one thing I noticed, and I feel like it's something that's kind of overlooked, is how the media is influencing young girls by awakening their sexuality at young ages. Like, too young. Too young. At ages where they shouldn't be thinking about stuff like that. There's a thing, I like to call it like virgin shaming because, and you see this a lot nowadays in books and movies and TV shows where they're like, oh my gosh, you're a virgin? That's not cool. And, and people, not all people, of course, but there are people out there that are like that in real life where they're like, oh, if you're a virgin, that's not cool, that's sad, like da 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 da, you're missing out. And then young girls are going to feel pressure to go out and have sex and lose their virginity, and they're going to probably end up doing it with, someone they're probably not going to end up staying with. And, and if they're not careful, the girl could end up getting pregnant or an STD, and then the guy could leave her. Society's lying, and your worth is not determined by your sexual status, and that if you are a virgin, that's perfectly okay, no matter what age you are. That's okay. Don't let society make you feel ashamed of that, because it's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Another bad way that girls can be influenced by this stuff, like another way how it can end up ruin or messing up their lives, is that, you know, one if they're introduced to sex even at a young age, they could end up becoming like into all these sexual things, even like, and at a young age too, like at an age that's too young, and that's not good. And then in the future they could become like a porn star, a stripper, a sugar baby, or a prostitute, which those positions have a lot of dark things about them. I'm going to be going into that in future episodes. You can also follow me on Twitter. I talk about that stuff on Twitter. And the sad thing is that a lot of girls give into this stuff and they go out and have sex even if they don't want to, because they want to feel cool and they want to fit in and be approved by society and their friends. And that's not good, because you shouldn't have to put yourself in those positions in order to gain approval. And if you have friends out there that are shaming you for being a virgin or for not having sex or not wanting to have sex, they're not your real friends. And you should have friends that are okay with that, because nobody should have friends that make them feel ashamed of their sexual status like that. And I'm aware that slut shaming is a thing too, and that's not good either, because nobody should feel ashamed of their sexual status. But on this episode, I want to focus more on the virgin shaming, because I feel like that's way more overlooked. Like, yeah, slut shaming is not good at all. Like I said, nobody should be shamed regardless of what their sexual status is, because shaming people gets nobody nowhere. So yeah, You know, when girls give in to this type of pressure, it chips away at their self-esteem, they're devaluing themselves and just allowing themselves to be used. As hard as that is to say. You know, like I said, like, and then it results in things that mess up their future, like accidentally getting pregnant, getting an STD, and a really horrible thing is they could end up being a victim of sex trafficking. And also, I sort of talk about like saying no and not giving into these types of pressuring situations in the first episode. So if you haven't seen that, check that out if you want. I give tips on how to say no in pressuring situations, and I even told a story of my own experience about a boy who bullied me because he wanted me for one thing and I wouldn't give that to him. Anywho. And a lot of the things that go on in the sex industry with like prostitution, sugar babies, stripping, being a porn star is that they feel like they have no choice because they don't know how else to make money, because they're in a situation, they have financial issues and like they don't know what else to do. So they feel like they have no other choice but to exploit themselves and devalue themselves. And that's really sad because they don't know how else to make money. And that truly doesn't make things like prostitution and being a porn star and sugar babies, stripping, etc., those aren't truly the woman's choice if she feels like she has no other way to go. One popular thing is OnlyFans. That's especially become popular during quarantine because coronavirus has caused many people out there to lose their jobs. So some women, I saw this thing on Twitter that a lot of women feel like the only way they can make money is by posting nude pictures on OnlyFans, which that's really sad. But my point is, don't let the media control and deceive and pressure you this way. Because they're wrong. They're liars. This episode, like the first one, also features a personal story of my own experience with an online friend that I used to have who sadly got into sexual role plays and stuff online at a very young age. And that also makes me realize that if girls are like virtually doing sexual stuff online, it could, especially young girls, it can attract predators, sugar dating. But I'm going to talk more about sugar dating in a future episode. But anyways, the story is about an online friend I used to have. We became really close, and I lost her because she got into sexual stuff online, and she wasn't pressured. She didn't feel like she had to, but it's because the media is pushing all the sex stuff, and young girls are becoming influenced to get into it at ages that are just far too young. And that's what happened to her, and the sad thing is that she didn't see anything wrong with what she was doing as young as she was, because she was 12, 13 years old, which is really young to be doing sexual role plays online. Anyways, to begin the story, like I said, this was an online friendship. I met this person through a mutual friend on a game that I used to play when I was younger. And we weren't close at first. We were just friends, but not like close friends. And we didn't become close until a year later, where we reunited on Skype, and then we just talked and ended up becoming really close friends. And during the summer, she mentioned to me that she was writing a lemon, which is like a sexual fan fiction, if you don't know what that is. And she was 12 at the time. And I was a little bit older than her. So we were around the same age, not exactly the same age, but we were close to the same age. And she told me when we were DMing on Instagram that she was writing this lemon, like a character X-reader lemon, where like, how do I explain it? Like a fictional character is with you, like romantically or sexually, which in this case it was sexually because it was a lemon. And I did not approve of that. And we got into a fight, and at the time, I didn't realize how much of an issue age was with this until now that I'm older and, like, I know more. But, the fight ended, and she said she decided she wasn't gonna write them anymore because she was too young. And I think she kind of implied that she would write more when she was old enough. I don't know how old she thought that was. I don't know. She just said, like, I'm not going to write. She just said that she was just too young to write them. And so I was like, okay, that's fair enough because she was. And so we decided, like, we made up and everything, and we decided to put it in the past, and we were good. So months after this argument, she became inactive on her Instagram account because we would message, like, all the time, like, pretty much every day. And so I was like, huh. Because I would message her and she wouldn't get back to me. Either that or, like, she would take way longer than usual to get back to me, like days, weeks. And so in March of the following year, she got back to me because I had sent her a message a while ago, and she got back to me a while later. And when she did, she messaged me to this roleplay account. And I looked at it, and it looked a little fishy because I was reading over it, and, like, it was sort of like a romantic / sexual roleplay thing where, like, people would come up with OCs, which means own characters, and then roleplay with other people's OCs. So I was like, okay. I think I followed it at first. I think I did at first. But I was looking at it, and it implied that, like, there was, like, sexual stuff surrounding this too, like sexual role plays. So I was just talking to her about it, and I was like, I remember asking her at one point, like, so it's like romantic role play? And she's like, yeah. And so I was like, okay, but I still felt like there was more to it, if you know what I mean. And then finally, I was like, okay, like, I feel like this has sexual stuff on it, like this role play can get sexual. So I finally confronted her about it, and she said, "Sigh, what's wrong with that?" Isn't that scary? At this time, she was 13, because her birthday had passed. And, you're 13 years old, and you're doing sexual roleplay with people on the internet who you don't even know, people who are probably older than you, because they're probably aware that this is, like, adult stuff. And you're a minor doing this online with people you don't know. And at the time, I was just more focused on the fact that it was just like, why are you role-playing smut? Like in the back of my head, I knew, like, that was, like, well, actually, I knew that was too young to be doing stuff like that, but, you know, now that I'm older and, like, I've done the research and, like, I know more and see things for what they are, like, I'm like, yeah, like, that's really sad how someone that young was influenced into that stuff because the media just pushes it so much. So she and I argued over it a few times, actually. And so after a few arguments, we made up, like, we were cool, but I just didn't know what to do. I guess because you know, we were close friends, so it was hard to let her go, so I think I still kind of wanted to talk to her, but, excuse me, oh yeah, and then later on, she blocked me with that roleplay account, so I was like, huh, because I guess she knew that, like, I disapproved of it, and so, I remember when we were arguing, she was saying, like, oh, like, if you don't like what I have to do, just don't follow my account. And it's like, it's kind of more than that, sweetie. So yeah, and then eventually I just blocked her on everything because I just decided I was just done. Because, like, I can't be friends with someone who's just gonna do that. Like, I can't. Like, I didn't mean any harm. I was just trying to look out for her. And, like, yeah, like, I was younger at the time and I was harsh on her. And, like, nowadays, since I'm older and more mature, I would have been a little more, like, gentle, but still, like, you know, serious and stern and pointing out, like, yeah, like, I don't want you to do this, but I'm looking out for you. And I was looking, and I was trying to look out for her even back then, don't get me wrong. But she didn't listen because she took it the wrong way. I think she took it as me not supporting what she was doing, which obviously I didn't, but I didn't mean that in a mean way. I just wanted to protect this person because you're 13 years old, having sexual conversation and sexual role plays with people that are probably older, and that's putting yourself in, like, predator territory. You know what I mean? So, a month, I guess, about a month or so after I blocked her on everything, I was on vacation with my family, and I remember I woke up one morning, and I got a text from her. Oh yeah, so I blocked her main, like, Instagram accounts that she was active on, and then I just unfollowed the ones that she was unactive, which included one that she used to talk to me on. So the inactive ones I just unfollowed. And so I woke up one morning when we were on vacation, to her messaging me on Instagram with her inactive account, the one that we used to talk on, I think it was. And one that I didn't block, one that I just unfollowed, and she was cussing me out over text, and she's like, "Why did you block me on Instagram and Skype? Like, that last time I checked, I thought we were totally fine. Da 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 da." And so I can't quite remember off the top of my head what I said, but I think I just went over my point about how I didn't approve. And then I said, like, how she blocked me with her roleplay account, and I said, "I wonder what you're hiding from me on there." Although deep down I knew, like, she probably just did it because she knew I didn't like what she was doing. And she confirmed that when we had that little argument, that little confrontation, she was like, "I blocked you because I knew," something along the lines of, "I blocked you because I knew you didn't like what I was doing," something among those lines. And so, yeah, we, like, argued a little bit, and then I guess it, like, stopped or whatever. I don't know, like, but what I do remember is a little, not too long after that, someone messaged me, someone she was friends with, and they said, "Hey, like, I just want to talk to you concerning my friend," something like that. So I guess she had told this person what was going on, and so I was like, "Okay." And so I just explained to them my side of the story about how I didn't approve of what she was doing. They were cool with it. We didn't, like, fight or anything. I just explained my side of the story and how I felt about everything. And then afterwards, at some point, my friend messaged me and she said, "I'm deleting my roleplay account. Hope you're happy." And I said, "Do you want to delete it?" And she goes, "Yes and no." And she explained to me, wait, no, I think she said something like she didn't want to delete it, but she kind of did because I guess she still wanted to keep her friendship with me. I don't know, but, and then I remember I said, "So you're giving up your roleplay account for me?" And she said something like, I think she said, like, basically, yeah. So I was like, huh. So then they didn't delete it, but I think I didn't really see anything new on it for just a little bit. And then not long later, she posted on the Instagram story of that roleplay account, and it said, "Does anyone want to roleplay?" So she didn't delete it, and she's still using it. And she thought I wouldn't figure out, but I did. And after that, I was done. I blocked her on everything. Like, everything. Like, even the inactive accounts that I want to follow. Like, every single thing that we were friends or following each other on or whatever. Blocked. And that was that. So, a little later on that year in August, this roleplay account followed my Instagram, and my Instagram account, mind you, had nothing to do with the roleplay. It was just my personal Instagram account. And it looked like it could have been my friend, because we hadn't talked ever since I blocked her on everything, because, I blocked her on everything, because I was done after that. And so, I was using the computer at the time because my phone had stopped working. And, so when they followed me, I commented on their latest post, because at the time you couldn't DM on computers. So I commented on their latest post, and I just said, "What do you want?" with, like, the straight face, like the colon and the slash or whatever. Or, like, the straight line going out, I don't know. And they're like, "Hi, do I know you?" And so I think I said, like, I thought that they were my friend, and then, like, I guess I asked why they followed me. I can't remember. This was a while ago, but their explanation for them following me, they were all like, "Oh, I was just scrolling around following random people at 4 a.m." And it's like, why would my account pop up in your recommendations when my account has nothing to do with what you're doing on your account? Unless you were in touch with me in some way, because I think this was like a different account, because my friend had like several different roleplay accounts, I found out. Like, I could tell they were her. They were all her. So, yeah, and so that was that, and the person, whether it was my friend or not, I don't know who was behind that account, they just blocked me, and that was that. So, I have not spoken to my friend ever since, whether that was when I blocked them on everything in April, because that's when we had that confrontation, and when I found out she lied about, when she said she was going to delete her account, and I found out she lied about it, or if that was really her on that other account in August. But I haven't talked to her ever since, and I'm over it now. Like, I remember I was really angry and upset about it, like, for months after that happened, because I was close with this person and it really impacted me. But I'm over it now. I've moved on. She's moved on. Yeah, I mean, I hope she realized what she was doing, and saves herself from those mistakes in the future. But yeah, that's how the media can influence girls, because they push sex on everyone, and then people that are way too young become interested, and they get into stuff like that online or in real life, and it's sad, and it's a scary thing. But I wasn't trying, ultimately, I wasn't trying to be mean or unsupportive or selfish. I mean, of course, I didn't support what she did, but in reality, it was all out of love, because I just didn't want to see her be put in any dangerous situations. I mean, at the time, like, I strongly felt, because I just didn't approve of what she was doing, but I think, like, deep down, it's just, like, I just knew, like, I was like, that's too young, and you could attract predators, you don't know who these people are. And I think even one of the one of the people she was in contact with was, like, 18, 19 years old, and she was 13, and I don't know if they roleplayed together or not, but that older person, I don't even know if that older person knew that she was 13, but, like, if they know, they could get in trouble. But yeah, it's just way too young, and it's sad. But the moral of this story is, don't feel like you have to do this stuff in order to be cool or in order to fit in. Like I said earlier, if people are pressuring you to get into sexual stuff, whether that's online or in person, don't give into that, because if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. Don't feel like you have to. You know, if you have friends that are pressuring you, they're not your friends. You know, your friends should respect your wishes and your decisions to not have sex or get into any sexual stuff. You know, and another thing is think about your choices and make a good choices. Really, like, take a step back and think, like, should I be doing this, or should I get into this? Or, you know, do your research, do your homework. And people, especially minors, because like I said, predators, should not be getting into this stuff in general. It's just because you don't, even in real life, if you're just going around like hooking up or having sex with people or having sexual chats with people online, you don't know who these people are, and if it's in person, like, you don't know what these people are carrying, you don't know what their intentions are, you don't know how they are. You know, obviously I can't make choices for you. The decision is ultimately yours, but I speak out of love. I wouldn't do it if I were you, because it can put you in some dangerous territory. And if you see a friend, or if you have a friend, or just know someone who's contemplating on getting into this stuff or is into this stuff, just lovingly guide them in the right direction, you know. And they may not listen to you. I mean, trust me, you guys know now that I've had experience with that, and, you know, you obviously can't force them. That I know, but just lovingly guide them in the right direction. Say, hey, I speak out of love, but this can be dangerous, and I'm just saying and doing this to protect you. And like I said, they may not listen, and they may not even want to be your friend anymore, but in the end, you did the right thing. But you never know who you could save, and that's another reason why I'm doing this podcast, because I just want to save people who are in these types of situations. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. That concludes Val-YOU episode 2. Remember, I am open for requests, and I'm also open to collabs. So if you're interested in a collab, just reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter through private messaging. The links to those will be in the description. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.